Betty. Betty, you're muted.
Oh, there we go.
Ah, now I hear you.
Yes.
Happy
Hello,
New Year.
hello, everyone.
Happy New Year, Ms. Rader.
Thank you.
All
It
right.
is going to be a good year.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
yes, the
We can
New
get
Year.
past this COVID.
Yes, yes, we will. We will.
All right, we are live, just so you all know. And Mr. Brown, you can start whenever you are ready.
All right. Well, welcome, everyone.
Welcome.
Oh,
Hello.
thank you. So we'll call this meeting to order at 4:08 p.m. I don't have a gavel. So let's do roll call. So let's see here. We got Council Member Ray Santos. Here. Council Member David Fenn.
Here.
City Manager Todd Parton.
Here.
Economic Development Manager Kyle Wierzinski.
Here.
Member Munir Ahmed. Here. I don't see him there. Oh, Munir's here. Okay. Member Richard Beneke.
Here.
Member Evan Brown. That's me. Member David Getka.
Here.
Member Alan Koblin.
Here.
Member Vaughn Lawson.
Present.
Member Rob Moran.
Here.
Member Betty Rader.
Present.
Member Carl Vince.
Here.
And I did not see student member, Beaumont High School student Angelina Segovia. Let's see her. And then alternate member, Cassandra Samuel. No. Alternate member, Trina Fragoso.
Rashad is here.
And then business community member, which is vacant right now. So we'll do an introduction of our new members. So maybe we could go through the new members, and you could just tell us a little bit about yourself real quick, like organization you represent, and just a little bit about yourself. So can we start with Mr. David Fenn?
Sure. Hello. As you probably all figured out, I'm a newly elected member of the City Council. My background in politics, I spent 5 years at the San Gregorio Pass Water Agency. I was appointed there and went unchallenged on 2 elections. By day, I'm a real estate broker. I have 4 adult sons, and I've been a Beaumont resident for over 17 years.
All right. And new member David Getka.
Hi, everybody. I'm from Wisconsin originally, so don't mind my hat, if you don't mind. Big game coming up Saturday. I've been in California about 23 years. We moved out here about 2.5 years ago from Dallas, Texas. I have grandkids in Orange County. And I just retired from my company after 37 years, 3M Corporation. So I have a little extra time now I can devote to community service. And I am a veteran, spent about 10 years in military type service. We love it out here. I live in Four Seasons right now, and out here with the rest of us retired folks, I guess. So thanks for the opportunity for joining the board or the committee, and I appreciate it very much. Look forward to working with everybody.
Okay, and then Mr. Richard Beneke. And please correct me if I'm saying those names incorrectly.
No, you're perfect. Moved to Beaumont in 2006, basically retired out here. And after a long career of some 30 plus years in public service with the University of the State University's college system for about 18 years. And then I was with the mayor's office of the city of San Bernardino for a little over 5 years. That's where I gained a lot of experience and knowledge practical experience and knowledge in city government. I do have a degree in political science, a master's degree in public administration from USC. I hope there's no UCLA people in the crowd. But anyway, and I ended my career actually closing military bases, which was quite interesting aspect to my wind-up career, working for the Secretary of Defense, and I helped close Norton Air Force Base in San Bernardino and McClellan Air Force Base up in Sacramento, retiring here to the beautiful city of Beaumont. My family's all here, been married 53 years, coming this March, and 3 sons, 6 grandkids. When I moved here, I have always been involved with the community. And so when I moved here, I wanted to do something in the community. And fortunately, I was able to be appointed to the Planning Commission. I served on the Planning Commission for 8 years. And then I had the opportunity to serve on the Budget Finance Committee, which was a great experience. We were going through a lot of hard times, as most of you know, back then. And I thought for a change of pace, I might be able to help again, being on the Economic Development Committee with my former experience with the city of San Bernardino and my knowledge of city government, how it functions. I don't know exactly what position I was appointed to. Maybe Dave and I are the senior representatives on the committee. I'm 75 years old and love to play golf. And I'm very honored to be a member of this committee, and hopefully I'll be able to provide some valuable input. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. And Mr. Kashandra Samuel, I see Cassie. Am I saying that right?
Can you hear me?
Oh. Go ahead. Is that Cassie?
I can hear her.
Oh, I can't hear. We can't hear you. Shoot.
Okay, so who can hear me?
I can hear
We
you.
got you now.
Can hear me? Okay, everybody can hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, how are
Yeah,
you?
can hear
How are
you.
you? How are you?
Can you hear me
Okay.
now?
I can hear all you. Yeah. Hi, I'm Cassie Kashandra Annette Juanita Samuel. You can call me Cassie. I have a book to write a book. As far as history, I'm retired military. I am a veteran. So I probably won't make all of the meetings. I'm 100% disabled veteran. So I do the best that I can. So I am here to learn and be a servant to the community. And that's about it. I like to be quiet and listen and learn. I don't talk much, but I do have a room in my house that has all of my awards. I kind of work with veteran issues with Congressman Mark Takano. So I'm kind of in the works that way. I moved here back home when I got out of the military, when I retired the military, and after finishing a master's degree from Regent University. So I was still on the East Coast for a long time. So I just moved to Beaumont, really, about a year ago, in the new party homes over here in Abrio from Paris. I lived in Paris for like 10 years. So right when I moved, I closed on March 7th, 2019, just in time for COVID. So I am still trying to, in the midst of unpacking. So I had to shift from, coming into a wonderful community, and getting to know it, to becoming back, going back into the military per se, and helping family members that were in different areas of the city, and still are in Los Angeles is where a majority of my family is. They're spread all over the place, but majority is where they are. And I'm the youngest of the family. I'm the most spoiled. So if any of y'all want to spoil me even more, I take all gifts. I love food. I'm a foodie. I love to cook too. So y'all are also going to be blessed. So that's just me. kid on the block. I'm a good neighbor on the block. That's just me. Humble,
Very nice.
very humble. I am a Christian, you know. So, but however, still getting worked on. So, you know, I do not judge. Put it to you that way. I just accept all, love all. So glad to be on board with you all as much as I can and do, you know, like as much as I can while I can.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Cassie. And then new member Trina Frigezzo. No?
I don't believe she's
Okay.
present.
And Carl Vince.
Yes, sir. Sorry about the picture. I didn't get that fixed, so I'll have to work on that for the next time. This is my first Zoom meeting. So, but I grew up in Ontario, California, went to Chaffee High School, went into the Army, got out of that, and I'm a former police officer. Started at Fontana PD in the 70s. And then I was here at Beaumont PD. So we moved here to Beaumont, lived here for a while, and then I've moved to Yucaipa, and now we're back into Beaumont. So I was with the Administrative Appeals Board, and then I reapplied for that. There was nothing busy about that. I never even got a call in the 2 years. So I got a phone call from Mr. Santos, and he'd asked me if I wanted to come on this board. I own a company, termite company, Mountain View Termite. Been doing that 25 years. So he said he needed somebody from the business end of it for this committee, and I'm glad to, serve on this committee. I look forward to it.
Great. I do see a few more new faces. They're not on the agenda there, but I think Daniel Garcia.
These are consultants for one of the items that we have
Oh,
on the
okay.
agenda.
And same with Stefan.
They're for our planning item, I think number 7. So
Gotcha.
We can do our introduction then if you'd like.
Okay. All right. Well, at this time, we would need to do the Pledge of Allegiance. So let's see here. Mr. Copeland, would you like to lead us in the pledge? Place your hand over your heart.
I see a flag there.
Ready to begin. I pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the
United
flag
States.
United States of America,
United States of America.
to the republic
To the
for which
republic
it stands,
for which it stands,
one nation,
nation under God,
indivisible,
liberty and
justice.
liberty and justice for all.
When you watch a classroom full of kindergartners try to do that online, it's quite funny. So then we'll need approval of approval or any adjustments to the agenda. So are there any adjustments to the agenda, or can I get a motion to approve?
Dr. Brown so moved that we approve the agenda.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Coleman seconds. And let's see here. So in response to the growing number of COVID-19 cases and the extension of the regional stay-at-home order, this meeting will be conducted in a virtual format only. Participation is encouraged by emailing any public comments to the city clerk's office or by calling in using the phone number provided on the front of the agenda. Do we have any public comments?
I have no written comments. Heather, do we have anyone on the line?
No, no callers.
And she'll let me know as the meeting goes if we do have any callers.
Great. And it looks like we need approval of the minutes from dated December 9th, 2020. So can I get a motion for approval of the minutes dated December 9th?
I'll move to approve the December 9 minutes.
I second.
Second.
Okay.
Okay. If I could do a quick roll call vote for that, please. And I'll start with Member Vince, if you can just vote yes, no, or if you abstain, if you didn't have a chance to read the minutes and or watch the last video footage of the last meeting, you can abstain. But I'll go through a roll call vote and you can say yes, no, or abstain. So Member Vince,
Abstain.
Member Rader,
Yes.
Member Moran,
Yes.
Member Lawson,
Yes.
Member Coblin,
Yes.
Member Getka,
Yes.
Member Brown,
Yes.
Member Beneke,
Abstain.
Member Ahmed,
Yes.
and Councilmember Fenn,
Abstain.
Councilmember Santos.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. Well, next on the agenda is reorganization of the committee. So the first thing we would like to do is ask for nominations for the chair. Let's see, Betty, you're vice chair, right? Is that?
No, you knocked me off last year.
Oh.
I forget.
Vaughn, you're vice chair? Okay.
Oh,
So
well, Vaughn would be good for next year as the chair.
Oh, are you? Is that a nomination?
Yes, I'm nominating Vaughn.
I'll second that.
And it looks like we need to take a vote.
He's going to get back at me.
Not even close, Miss Rader. I tell folks all the time, the worst thing about COVID is that I have missed your hugs. I am not joking. Yeah.
Okay, so
I'll save them up for you.
Thank you.
I have a nomination for Mr. Lawson, so I'll do a vote on that. Member Vince,
Yes.
Member Rader,
Yes.
Member Moran,
Yes.
Member Lawson,
Yes.
Member Coblin,
Yes.
Member Getka,
Yes.
Member Brown,
Yes.
Member Beneke,
Yes.
Member Ahmed,
Yes.
Councilmember Fenn,
Yes.
Councilmember Santos.
Aye. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much to everyone. Thank you. I hope I can live up to it. It's hard to follow a Dr. Evan Brown. That is very difficult. So thank you. Thank
You will have
very
no
much.
problem, sir.
I am honored. This is my home. Beaumont is my home, and I'm honored to serve. So thank you.
Nicole, I'd like to vote yes on Vaughn as the chairman as well,
Okay. All right.
just to show my support.
Let the record reflect. Looks like we need a nominations for a vice chair.
I nominate Betty Rader.
I've already done that.
Oh, you already did that? Oh, okay.
I already did that.
Do it again.
You're next in line.
I'll do it, but I'm not very good. I'm kind of informal, but I can't reach Dr. Brown's level of professionalism.
Okay, so I
Nicole,
have-
do you need a second?
Yes, I do need a second.
Second.
I'll second it.
Okay, and I'll do a quick roll call for this as well. Member Vince,
Yes.
Member Rader,
Yes.
Member Moran,
Yes.
Member Lawson,
Definitely yes.
Member Coblin.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Okay, thank you. Member Getka,
Absolutely.
Member Brown,
Yes.
Member Beneke,
Yes.
Member Ahmed,
Yes.
Councilmember Fenn,
Yes.
Councilmember Santos,
Double yes.
and Kyle. Should I be including you in the vote here?
Yes.
Are you a member?
Todd
a
might
voting
want to
member?
vote as well.
Okay. All right. I'll include both of you on here. So Kyle Rosinski
Yes.
and Todd Parton.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Oh, come on, Todd.
Was that
Okay.
supposed to be elevator?
Yeah,
Was that supposed to be no?
At this time, Vaughn, I'm handing you the virtual gavel.
I thought this was a thing where we transitioned into it the next time. So you actually handed me the gavel now. Dr. Brown, I have to pay you back for this, and trust me, we owe each other big. Thank you so much. Good afternoon or good evening to everyone. Again, thank you so much for your trust in us being able to handle this task. With that, and I'll refer to Ms. Wheelwright if in fact I make any mistakes. We will move along to item 4, which is the update of projects from city staff. And I do believe I refer over to Mr. Warsinski for that.
Thank you, Vaughn. So I first want to congratulate Dr. Brown on a great year as chairman last year. You did a really good job running the different committee meetings, and you'll be sorely missed. But don't worry, there's always next year where you can get that thing back if you want. With that, I also want to say hello and welcome to all of the different new members that have been appointed to the committee. I look forward to working with each and every one of you as we move forward throughout these meetings and the day-to-day work that we do at the city of Beaumont. And with that, I'll provide a little bit of a snapshot of some of the updates on major projects that are occurring within the city today. This report may be a little bit short because I do want to reserve time for Christina and Carol and the planning consultants that we have on the line so they can get to their item. But typically this portion of the agenda is where you'll hear me or Todd or Nicole go over large projects that are going on or current things that we have going on within the city. So historically, members of the committee may have heard what was going on with the wastewater treatment plant. So that was an outstanding project that had been going on for quite some time. And we're happy to say that expansion and the upgrade of the treatment plant is up and running. So we're super excited about that, or at least I am. And I'm sure Councilmember Santos and Councilmember Fenn are excited about that as well. It forges an opportunity for the city to produce really nice, clean water out of the sewer treatment plant in compliance with the state requirements. We'll also talk about different types of infrastructure projects, streets and highways, and those types of things during this portion of the agenda. Currently, the main ones that are going on within the city today are design, and that would be the design or the feasibility of the extension of 2nd Street. So as many of you know, if you're going on Highland Springs and you turn right onto 2nd, you can travel as far as Coles, right? And then as Coles hits, it dead ends, and it does not extend to Pennsylvania. So on paper, the street goes through. We have right of way for that, and the Public Works Department is currently designing and doing the feasibility on that extension. So that's big for us in economic development. It opens up some land and some opportunity within that area, and also increases the traffic flow and the traffic patterns available to the residents and consumers of those businesses. The other thing that really goes well with that is the expansion and widening of Pennsylvania. And I know you've heard me talk about that as well. Pennsylvania currently today between 1st and 6th is 2 lanes. It's planned to be 4 lanes, so we're currently looking at expanding that. In addition to that is the freeway interchange. So currently there are only a off-ramp coming westbound and an on-ramp going eastbound. So we have 2 missing ramps out there. And our Public Works Department is working with Caltrans on design of adding the 2 missing ramps, if you will. In conjunction with that, because of the proximity of the freeway to the railroad, is we're going to need to design something that goes underneath the railroad tracks. And I think as many of us traverse that area, going to and from those businesses, our residences or place of work, it's not infrequent that we get stopped by 1 or possibly 2 trains, right? So that's always a fun one. Traffic flow patterns necessitate us to go underneath that freeway. And well, it's underneath the freeway already, but I mean, underneath the railroad tracks And then that kind of opens that whole corridor up as well. So those are the main things we're working on in terms of infrastructure design. The members of the committee that have been on here a while have heard me provide periodic updates on the different shopping centers that are under construction. And the one that we've been talking about that everyone was super excited about is pretty much complete in terms of the buildings. And now we're just kind of waiting for the tenants to do those improvements. So the tenants that we have coming left within that shopping center are Ulta Beauty and the Planet Fitness. So we've seen them start their tenant improvements. I can't provide a date on when they're going to finish because it's kind of up to them to get through their construction as well as inspections. But we are happy to say that those two businesses are progressing. You never know when you have a development that's being built during a recession or in this case, a pandemic, what things may be changed or what business plans may be altered. So we're excited that really all the tenants that were in tow prior to COVID are moving in. We have Cane's that is open, In-N-Out's open, the Jersey Mike's, the grocery outlet, Five Below, all of those are open. And I'm sure each and every one of you have kind of gone to a couple of them. I probably go to In-N-Out weekly, even though Todd makes fun of me for doing so. But the last piece of the puzzle is the movie theater that's over there. So that thing is still progressing. It's unclear to us when they may open, just due to the pandemic. Originally, they had planned to open prior to Thanksgiving of 2020, but as we have a stay-at-home order and we had that colored phase system on in terms of what types of businesses and what business industries could be open under the state's guidance, movie theaters weren't in those top two tiers. So I believe their business plans have kind of shifted a little bit, and they just took a little bit more time to get the building constructed and to do the tenant improvements. But we are happy to see that thing open, and I can't wait to personally go into that thing when we can all do so safely, buy some popcorn, a soda, and probably some candy and watch a movie in Beaumont, which is not something that's been done previously. The Sundance Corporate Center, shifting gears to another development, is nearing completion on their three main medical buildings. So we're seeing a lot of interest and demand from different private businesses going into those buildings. And we've shifted gears to working with the developer to attract some retail or service commercial out in the remaining buildings that have yet to be started for construction. So those are really some of the main things that are going on currently today. You may have wondered what the construction equipment is up near the Chevron on Oak Valley Parkway. I know we got a couple of calls on that. Hey, what's going on? Who's moving dirt? We're pleased to say, and Christina can chime in on this, is that it was approved from the planning department and planning commission. So it's going to be another gas station that can go up there and provide a separate option other than really just the Chevron, right, within that area. And then there's some various retail or drive-through pads that are going to be adjacent to that, although those have not started construction as to date. So I said it's going to be short, so I'll leave it at that, and I'll reserve the remaining time in case Todd wants to chime in on anything I may have missed, and we'll move on to the next item.
No, sir, that was good. Thank you.
Hey, Kyle, I will throw in to your movie theater comment. So in addition to being able to buy popcorn and soda, last night the Planning Commission approved the ABC license for the theaters. So if anybody would choose to have an adult beverage while they are in movie watching, they will also be able to do that when we can safely open and do so.
That is perfect. I appreciate that update, although I can say that I've never had a beer and popcorn while watching a movie. I don't know why. I guess just a Coca-Cola sounds good.
Is it going to have food? Is it going to have like a sit-down food like the one in Redlands?
So
You can have dinner.
it's not going to be as, I think, to that same extent, but they will be having food service and beverage service, and I think probably even
nice.
into the theater. So it'll be similar.
How nice.
What is it? Is it an AMC theater?
It's Cinema West.
Cinema West. Okay.
Is there any other more discussion on item 4, please? If none, then we will move on to item 5, an update on the retail market analysis.
Thank you, Chairman Lawson. So this one stems back to the last meeting in which we told you that the RFP had been concluded and we were going to be presenting our recommendation to the City Council for that contract to be awarded. So at the December meeting, the City Council did choose to award the contract for this work to the Retail Coach. That's the company's name. They're one of the main retail attraction companies within the country. They're based out of Texas. And what they're doing for us now is working on our retail market analysis. So it's a multi-phased project. We're in the onset of that. They've been kicked off. They've started work. And we're currently in the data gathering phase. So they're pulling demographic data, psychographic data. Most interesting to me, and I told you all this last meeting, but I wanted to bring it up for the new members, is our fun cell phone data. So like it or not, when we all travel places, our little cell phone in our pocket or our purse tells pretty much everyone on this planet where we're going. And what we can do as the city, with the help of Retail Coach, is utilize that for different businesses. So we can do it something called a geofence. So we create a geographic location, a little bit of an area, if you will, and we're able to track cell phone data on who visits that geofenced area, how frequent, how long they stay there, and so forth. So why that's important is we can see the customers of different businesses in the city, and we know who's coming, where they're coming from. And then when you couple that with the demographic data, you get a really good understanding of consumers and consumer behavior. So we're going to utilize that to figure out what consumers are doing in Beaumont, in this region, and also identify retailers that are interested in coming in, and then pairing those two things together. So if we have customers that are going to X business frequently and there's not that business here, well, we can easily reach out to that business and say, hey, look, we got a ton of residents that are shopping at your place based on these data sets. What say you take a look at Beaumont? We have a couple locations you can come into. What's your thoughts about doing that? And if they're in expansion mode and they're looking for new territory or a new market, it's very possible we can kind of make that work. So we are going to be providing this committee as well as council updates as this project moves along. We're pretty excited about it, if you can't tell from the tone in my voice. And the last thing I wanted to state to you is, as part of the original kickoff and part of their contract, it's not just focused on attracting new businesses. And I think a lot of economic developers and people in the profession get really hung up on who you bring in next, like what big business is coming in now. And sometimes we forget about the existing businesses that are already in the city, that have been here for years, that have employees within the city and have been paying taxes for a decade, right? It's like, well, city, what are you doing for me? You keep going out and you bring in new people, and you may even be bringing in competitors of my business. So we have a retail webinar this month on the 26th. We're going to hold it on Zoom, and it's at 2:00 in the afternoon, our time. And what we're going to do is show existing businesses how they can utilize these data sets that the city is paying for. So it's not just marketing. We could say, look, and I can use board member Ahmed's business for an example, because I know where his is and I'm familiar with it, right? So we can put a geofence around Monier's business and say, look, this is where all of your customers are coming from. One, did you know that? And two, now we can tell you who they are, what their spending patterns are, how often they come, those types of things. And businesses can utilize that data set they may have not had to do focused marketing, different advertisements, figure out if they may want to diversify or have different types of products. Probably bad example for the Meineke, because you guys you do your thing. But if you're a retail business and people are going to another one, well, maybe look at what they have that you don't and be able to provide that type of product. So we're happy to have that thing coming up. We're excited about that event. It's really the first one of these that we've ever had. So we're hoping for a tremendous turnout, and hopefully you guys can help me by either attending or getting the word out to different businesses within the city that event is occurring. And you can find it on our website, the registration link on our Facebook, and so forth. And with that, that concludes my report on this item. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Warsinski. I got to tell you, if that's the case, that my phone is tracking where I'm going, then it knows that we definitely need one of those famous Daves down here.
There you go.
Absolutely. So we need to send a few more people up there and let it track your phone right back down here to that beautiful complex that your team has developed over there on 2nd and 1st. It is absolutely incredible if you've not been over there. I also have to blame Mr. Warsinski for some of the caloric intake that I have added by going to that Cane's. That sauce is addictive. So thank you all so much. Do we have any other comments or thoughts on item 5?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
Highly. So one is with the geofencing idea. It's opt-in, right? People can opt out. They can not accept when the message pops up. So I don't know if the city, has any data, you have collected any data from providers as to what's the rate of success and so forth, right? So before you get to that, I'll ask you one more question and then I'll stop. The other is, California has a very good program called California Competes Tax Credit that many businesses do. Is there an initiative that I'm not aware of, or is there an opportunity that maybe, because the state provides this tax credit for a business to be located or expanded within the state, not any particular location, right? And low income areas are preferred for grading, but it's not really required. Could Beaumont, let's say, per se, incentivize someone who has those credits to locate in Beaumont by adding something from the city sales tax credit or other? Do we have a revenue base to be able to support that? And I'm going to stop there for you to have a chance to think and comment.
Sure. Two really good questions. On the geofencing, to my knowledge, and you have to forgive me, I'm a little bit new at how this is all going to work, but from what I've been told, the geofence is something that we can create. And what it does is it just tracks the cell phone data that's occurred in the past to that location. But it does require those apps on your phone that asks if you want to turn on your location services. It can only track people that have said yes to that. So if people have said no to that, then it's not tracking them. I think most people probably have something like that on their phone without them knowing it. And that's really where most of this data is coming from. And it's going to be up to Retail Coach on what type of data they can get us. And we're excited to kind of see what that is, to see if it is spotty or if it's a decent amount of people that it's really tracking. So we're excited to see that thing. On I'm familiar with Cal Competes. I've worked with some people on that before and encouraged businesses to utilize that program. To answer your question directly, currently the city does not have any economic development incentives that match those tax credits. It's a concept that I really haven't even thought of before. So it's definitely doable, but it would need to be budgeted and put into the city council's budget for the year. And it's really the city council's job to allocate funds and to appropriate funds into different programs and services throughout the city. So it is a good idea to kind of look at. How it would play out is really going to be based off of what types of incentives that we come up with that city council would approve.
Hey, Kyle, I have a question on that event that's coming up, the Zoom event. Are we working with the Chamber of Commerce and getting the word out to their membership?
Yes, I've sent that over to Miss Rader in the chamber, so I believe they're distributing the event information and that flyer to their members.
Okay, super, great, thank you.
Betty, you're muted.
I'm sorry, it went out today with our constant comment and all of our other media, and it'll continue to be sent out until the event's over.
Hey, Kyle, thank you very much for that. So maybe between now and the next, when city budget happens, at least we can do non-financial packaging that your office can promote to say, if you have a Cal Compete grant, we are a good place for you to be because we are nice people or whatever that may be. But I strongly would recommend for our council colleagues here and you, as well as Todd, to consider that, because it is really a wonderful opportunity to try to bring in some creative business ideas into the community and give an incentive to locate. They could locate anywhere to locate in our town. And it may not take a lot.
Would it be a good idea to get additional information out to this committee to take a look at as a possible recommendation to the council?
I'm going to defer to Ms. Warsinski to answer that question.
Yeah, what I can do first and foremost is find the information on the Cal Competes tax credit program if we're not familiar with it, and then I can send that out to all the different members. One, just so that we know what that program is and we increase our education level on that. And then two, what we could do is we can bring back an item if the committee desires to the next meeting, because that'll be in February, which is really the onset of the city's budget season. And once you see that Cal Competes tax credit program, I think the committee's open to suggestions on creating an incentive program. And it could be something where we simply try to market that or really attract businesses that are going for it, or it could be financial. But I'm open to suggestions from committee members and open to working with people on that, if that's okay.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Are there any other discussion on the item 6 Smart City Plan update? Any other discussion?
May I?
Yes, sir, please.
So on a follow-up, I think we had discussed last times, a couple of times, about the internet, high-speed internet connection, Kyle. I don't know, it hasn't been long enough. I don't know if you have had a time to get into anything.
I have. I've worked with my IT manager. He's done a really good job putting me in contact with Verizon, who has the fiber network within the area. They have a network that's in there. I haven't had enough time to actually identify where the actual high-speed fiber lines are in each given street, if you will. But they have reached out to me and said that there's different options that they have available for businesses that are fairly typical to what you would see at your house, right? Like and you have different plans that you can get in terms of ratcheting up or down your upload and download speeds. So my next question to them was, well, that's fine. We understand that. But what if we have businesses that want more? Like I want something that can do 1 gig internet, 10 gig internet. What's the highest number you can get within the city? They did provide me an email back saying that there is a potential, depending on the business's location, for something over 100 gigs a second. I don't know what that costs. I don't know what infrastructure needs to be laid or where that connection needs to be made. Essentially, what they've done is they've explained that there is a possibility for really a point source contact to be made with that fiber network, as opposed to it going out to different branches and then a business popping in off one of those branches. So I believe there is ability to point in directly to the main fiber line, which then provides a business within the city crazy fast internet, if you will, with not getting into technical jargon. But as we continue to move forward on this, I'm going to try my best to figure out kind of where the main infrastructure is, get some case examples, and Mr. Ahmed, maybe I'll use your business address with Verizon, for example, and I'll say, look, what could you provide Meineke in Beaumont? Like, what are their options? This is what they have today. What's a next step up from that? And just for fun, what's the most expensive option that you have, if that's okay with you?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I've been exploring on my own, and I've been not really making much progress, to be honest with you. So I think there are other businesses in the city. They're more and more becoming dependent on reliable, fast, high-speed internet connectivity. Are faced with the same issues because nothing nowadays runs local, and everything is connectivity is becoming more and more, and a way of life, so to speak.
Any other discussion on item 6, Smart City Plan? And I thank you, Mr. Warsinski, especially for your expertise, because I am not a techie, not even close. The fact that I can turn on a computer is a blessing. So thank you all so much for that. If there are no other discussions on item 6, then we will move on to item 7, which is parking strategy study. I'll defer once again over to Ms. Taylor and to Mr. Warsinski.
So I'm going to kick this straight over to Christina because she's the specialist on this one. I just want to do a quick introduction. So we do have the community development director. Her name's Christina Taylor, as well as is Carol still there? There she is. You just moved on your picture on my screen. You were over on the right. Now you're on my left. And Carol Kendrick, our senior planner with the city, and I'll let them go over this item.
Thanks, Kyle. Y'all can hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. So it's nice to be back here with you guys. It's been quite a while since I've joined the committee to talk about anything planning related. I think it was pre-COVID even the last time I was here. So I'm happy to be here with you guys tonight, and especially on the night where you get to welcome some of your new members. So that's exciting. Nice to see everybody again and to see your new faces joining the committee. By way of background on the item tonight, planning staff wrote a grant to SCAG back, it's been probably about a year now, maybe a little more, and we were awarded the grant to do a parking strategy study. And the idea was initially to focus on the downtown area. Staff has realized that many of the parcels downtown that have businesses on them have a shortage of parking or no parking. There's, maybe some limited street parking, or businesses will occupy existing structures, and maybe the parking on site can't meet the parking standards. Anyway, we heard from businesses and residents alike both that there were some issues, and so we decided that it was worth exploring we were awarded the grant, and Walker Associates, or I think I said it right, Walker Associates, Walker Partners maybe, was a consultant selected through SCAG to assist in gathering the data and preparing the report. And we've been working with them now, getting all this information together and doing some outreach. And we thought, since this group deals with or has a wide variety of members on it, before we get this all packaged up and ready to utilize, that we should come and present and give some information, maybe get some feedback from you guys on your thoughts. And so at this time, I'll turn it over to Stefan Turoff. He's our lead on this project, for him to take over. Stefan?
Sure. Thank you very much, Christina, and thank you, everyone, members of the committee, for having us here. I'm here with my colleague, Daniel Garcia, who is a planner with us. I'm Director of Planning for Southern California for Walker. We are nationwide, but we have 2 offices here in Southern California, and Daniel and I have worked together with a number of cities on studies somewhat similar. The company's 55 years old, started out really designing parking lots and garages, but Daniel and I have come to it really on planning, working with city requirements, city codes, and less so, or much less so, the design side of it, but looking at what cities and sometimes large-scale developers can do from, in part, an economic development standpoint to making the parking work better for them. So as Christina mentioned, our efforts in this case, we've gone out, looked at supply of parking on the streets, private supply around the area. The occupancy, the demand for parking as best we could based on what's been going on with COVID, but finding we went out there over the summer, and looked at the situation then, but really, as Christina mentioned, there are parking requirements. Cities require a certain number of spaces for different land uses. The spaces have to be a certain size. The drive aisles have to work a certain way. And when you have an older building, if you're not careful, we see plenty of instances where development is curtailed or stopped. Businesses can't open or replace other businesses because of a parking requirement. And cities very often, and businesses, look to us to help to see where we can remove or make more flexible the hurdles, that type of thing. So that's what we're doing. There's a lot to this. We are a large company, and we're busy, and people say, just parking, is that? But parking, transportation, we're looking a little bit at your transit system, but seeing what we can do to make sure that what the city requires from a parking perspective does not interfere too much. If you have a building and you want to replace a retail store with a restaurant, or you have a building that's maybe built almost to the lot line and there's no real parking on the site. We don't want that building to just be perpetually, forever doomed to not having business there. As we said, there are street spaces, there are spaces, maybe if not on that parcel, 2 parcels down. How can we, from a regulatory and from a very operational, practical standpoint, get that to work for the businesses and for the city? So that's what we're doing. After some outreach, some data collection, some review of your books, we are working on a report and hope to deliver that very soon to the city with some recommendations, which will be, we are anticipating right now, maybe lower some requirements a little bit, especially in the downtown, and also provide some flexibility to what businesses can do to satisfy a parking requirement, rather than just saying, gee, you're out of luck, you don't meet the requirement type thing. So with that, I think, I want to be respectful of your time. We are open for questions or comments. What we're doing is not, like a site specific by specific. Well, on my lot, there's this truck that always parks in front. We always hear that. And I love parking. Daniel and I, if you want to talk about that, we talk about it all day long, but we're looking a little bit bigger picture. To the extent we might not have time for questions or comments, I think, could share email addresses or I'd be open, honestly, to another, meeting, or to people who may have specific parking concerns. At the same time, if certain things are on your mind, I think, if you have experiences with your businesses and parking, we'd love to hear it.
Are there any committee?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Mr. Benecki.
Yeah, I have a question. In this study, what boundaries were you looking at? Were you looking primarily at the downtown area, or were you looking at other areas within the city's boundaries?
We are looking primarily, it's a city parking study, but really the way this was scoped, 3 corridors essentially, I would say, in the downtown. But in speaking with city staff, we're trying to focus on that, and that is the most complicated thing typically in a city. We did go out and look at some of your commercial centers to just get a sense how full the parking was, recognizing that this was, COVID time, but we've worked on a number of cities where we go out to the commercial centers and we say, we recognize there might be a busy day before Christmas or something like that, but sometimes we can recognize, 10, 20% of the parking is available. And then we put it out there and we say, what would you think about reducing your requirements so that maybe you could put some pads out there, things like that. So I'm giving you a roundabout answer. We're really focused on the downtown, but we did look at some of the commercial areas, and we'll try to provide some good information on that one as well.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions or concerns with regard to Mr. Turow's report from our committee members?
I just have
Schrader.
one experience that it's been several years now, but we did have a business that actually had joined the chamber and were trying to get their business located in the downtown area. It was a nighttime use, but they could not meet the parking requirements. They tried for about 5-6 months.
Wow.
They couldn't get, now this is what I was told, obviously I wasn't involved with the actual politics of it, but they could not get any accommodation for the fact that they were nighttime use, and they finally just left and never opened. So as a city, I'm glad to hear that we're looking at that, because one lost business, how many businesses never showed up to begin with?
That's a very unfortunate but an accurate example of what we want to try and address. We have developed with the International Council of Shopping Centers and the Urban Land Institute and National Parking Association, we have a large shared parking model. And a big part of what we do is, we say the bank and the movie theater. And it's wonderful. You mentioned the movie theater that's going to be opening. A bank or an office, which is busy parking wise all day, during the weekday, but nighttime and weekends it's empty. And you have maybe some restaurant or a movie theater where it's the opposite. And because parking is so land intensive, we're looking at that, to the extent that there's an opportunity to co-locate businesses where they can share off of the same, say, 5,000 square feet of parking, rather than adding another 5,000 square feet of parking to your downtown. That's the kind of efficiency that we want to encourage. So that's an unfortunate story. I'd be interested in hearing more, but again, that's the problem. Parking is can be a real barrier if not done right. And we're all concerned about it. We all want the convenience, but we just want to make sure that it's being done right. That's what we're here to do.
Thank you, sir. Another comment, Mr. Warsinski.
Christina, thank you so much for bringing them to this meeting. You have me all excited about parking standards. And I think that when we look at different developments throughout the city, everyone wants a parking spot as close to the door as possible, right? We all want that. From the business perspective, they want as least parking spaces as possible, because the difference is they get a bigger building and they have more sales and so forth. So we have to walk that tight line between having too much parking and not enough. And what's encouraging for me, at least speaking from my perspective, is that we're looking at this in a more research type of way than adopting what City X or City Z has done next to us. I think that this is encouraging. I could see it definitely working out for the betterment of the city and its residents. by coming up with really meaningful parking standards that can accommodate uses that Betty's talking about, while also providing us our parking spot we can go there. It's in my experience, and I know Christina and Carol have helped on this before, is when you look at our parking code and it says you need 20 spots, that business in all other locations does great with 8 spots, right? So it's like, and trust me, the business themselves doesn't want to have not enough spots, because that means they can't get customers that come to their business. So looking at this in this way is very encouraging to me, and I think will really benefit the city. So I want to thank you for volunteering to come to this meeting and present it.
Anytime. Thanks for having us. And we thought it was timely, as the city has just adopted the general plan and the downtown area plan. And, you know, we have opportunity for a lot of exciting things. And as Kyle said, we didn't want to just adopt or modify the parking standards in an arbitrary way. We knew there was an issue, but we knew that we needed help to figure out how we can best make sure that the business and the properties within the city are utilized to the maximum extent possible, so we can have success for both the businesses and the residents to patronize those. So I'm happy to come back and talk to you guys about anything we're doing in planning, and you just let Kyle know, and I'm happy to join at any time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Taylor.
I have one more question of the consultant.
Yes, sir.
Real quick, does your study include both on-site and off-site parking, in the sense of street parking versus off-site parking? In other words, are you studying the parking on the street, and if a business needed more parking, and if they bought the lot next to where they're building, they then could add parking on that lot? Do you do any of that kind of analysis?
Overall, yes. And Daniel, I want to make sure that I characterize it the right way. I mean, on-street parking and off-street parking always work together. Some people are uncomfortable parking on the street. It sounds like, Mr. Beneke, that you've worked a lot in local government, and local government always deals with parking. But the on the street is what people see first. It's where they form their perceptions. But then the numbers typically are very high off-street. So we have to take all that into account.
Okay.
Yes.
I thought you would. I thought I'd ask the question. So thank you.
All righty. Thank you, Mr. Beneke, and thank you, Mr. Turoff. Are there any other questions? Yes, sir. Go ahead, Mr. Coughlin. Go ahead.
Question, Christina, this is completely not related to what you were just talking about, but because you're planning, I have a question. Considering the I don't even say conditions in Beaumont, especially where I live at Four Seasons, has the city ever considered windmills? And I say that because, we have such consistent amount of wind. To think about using windmills to generate or supplement the power grid for our area would be a tremendous enhancement to local businesses, because utilities are a tremendous part of their budget.
So I can tell you, I have not I've not been approached for anything like that, either from within the city or outside of the city, to have windmills utilized. It's primarily solar is what we get approached with for feeding the grid.
Who would do a study for that to determine if it is feasible for us?
So it could be done one of two ways. If city council chose to direct staff to go out for to study something like that, we could do it that way. Or if there was a private company that their focus was in providing wind energy, then they could study it and provide that information to the city to show that maybe wind energy would be something effective or useful for the city.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any additional questions under item 7? Hearing none, then at this point we will move on to topics for future agenda discussion. I'll entertain any thoughts, comments, recommendations, suggestions for future discussion from this list. Then what I will do, I'm not hearing any, that I will refer back to Mr. Warsinski to ask, what is it that we said we would discuss, I believe, the last time, and if that is still good with this body.
Yvonne, before you move on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So not on the list, but to add to the list. And Kyle, don't hate me. I want to make sure your life is exciting and continue to. The city utility that is provided by Edison to the city, businesses and residents and so forth, right? More and more cities are looking at, other cities are looking at to bring in some competition. So while Edison controls the transmission line, there are opportunities for other providers to provide the goods, so to speak, the power. And then, so you pay two bills, one for the Edison being a carrier and the other is, and I have firsthand experience with another city that I have business in. My utility bill went down significantly. Edison, when I talk to them, they're not very happy. They want it and nothing to do with it. And I'm very happy because on an average month, my utility bill went down by like 30%. So something, I don't know, as an agenda item to be discussed if we want to explore it anywhere to help our residents and our city businesses in the future. I'm going to stop there.
Sure. I think that's a good one. It's going to require some work for us to put that together. So I couldn't promise it's going to be on the next agenda. But what I'll do is I'll put it under topics for future agendas, so it's on the list. And then I'll talk to Todd and we'll work on getting that up in the queue.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Warsinski. Are any other observations or things that we should be discussing for future agendas?
I was just curious about the overview of plan for committee responsibilities and duties. Why was that considered in the past? I mean,
I think that one's been on there for a while. I think that when the committee was first formed, we started talking about the responsibilities and duties. And if you look on the agenda, you can you can see the committee vision statement as well as the goals. And I think what we had on there is if members wanted to bring back an overview of what different members wanted to do, or if they wanted to volunteer themselves to perform some duties related to these or other things that are on future agenda items or current agenda items, we kind of leave it as a placeholder. So the one example I can throw out there, and it was a member that's no longer on the committee, but he served as a regional person for the IBW, say Electrical Workers Union. And they had worked out a program offline from the committee between themselves and Beaumont Unified School District. And I think they were even talking to Mr. Lawson with Mount San Jacinto on getting students to come visit their apprenticeship program.
Right.
And so that's a good example of when we want to talk about responsibilities and duties. If you bring up things like that, if you guys want to team up on things by any means, go for it, and then report back to the committee on kind of what's going on. So you may hear me talk about things that the city's doing, or as Mr. Ahmed chimed in and provided a really good idea for a future agenda item. By no means do any of the items on the agenda need to involve staff at all. You guys can come up with your own ideas and then throw them on there and team up for some nice programs.
well, it sounds good. It's almost like that should be an agenda item in January, appropriate every year for possibly new members that come on board that may want to have some ideas or have ideas. It gives them an opportunity to have that kind of input. So Yeah, that's a good idea.
If you want, we can put it on February's agenda if you want to just talk about it.
Yeah, why don't we? I mean, we do have a few new members that, and maybe some of the previous members or the members that are continuing since they've been on the committee a year or two now, they might have some ideas too that they might want to think about, or they have been thinking about, as the discussions occurred over the last 6 months, 8 months, whatever. Give everybody an opportunity to kind of get an idea of or have input at least in where you want to go this year. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other discussion on the items of topics for future agendas?
Hey, Vaughn, I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
Topics. Being a new member here, I'd be glad to kind of offer my services to help out in any critical new needs or committees or subcommittees or whatever you might be needing. So I'm open to helping. I'm not just joining your group to just be on the group. I want to be able to help be productive and contribute to the team and to the city of Beaumont. So I did have a question real quick on, and you probably already have done this, is exploring opportunity zones for the city of Beaumont. Have we done any studies or reached out to the federal government? There are programs as of 2016 that were made available. I think the city of Banning has participated in creating some of those. I'm not sure if the city has looked at that. Can anybody comment?
Mr. Warsinski?
Yes, sir. Yeah, opportunity zones are definitely something that can be utilized to cities' benefits. When they were first created, we did extensive research on the potential for those within Beaumont. And to be frank about it, our city does not qualify for the establishment of those opportunity zones. We, as a populace, we don't have enough low income areas or distressed areas that are the key qualifiers for those. So with how it sits today, there was no way to actually create one. We had some traction on one of our census tracts, but even that one didn't really meet the reasons for it. And I think if Rob wanted to chime in on opportunity zones throughout the county, I'd lead to believe Beaumont's not unique in their inability to create one. He represents Riverside County economic development, and I would suspect that there are some opportunity zones that work well in certain areas, but there's many areas of the county that do not qualify. Or Rob, tell me I'm wrong.
No, I'm going to agree with you, and good afternoon, committee members. So yeah, Riverside County has 49 census tracts spread throughout the county from basically the Arizona border and the Blythe area all the way to western region, placed in different locations. And I believe you're right, Kyle, that Beaumont does not have a census tract. I believe that Banning has one. And those were selected when the program was initially started a few years ago. And to this point, I don't believe there's been an opportunity to add or modify the existing census tract configuration in the opportunity zones. But it is something we're definitely promoting. You can actually find information about all the census tracts in Riverside County by going to rivcooz.com. RIVCOOZ.com to get kind of a perspective on all the different opportunity zone tracks throughout Riverside County. But yeah, it is a tool in the toolbox, so to speak. And just to clarify, I'm Rob Moran with the county's Business and Community Services Department. So I'm Kyle's colleague at the county level. So it's a pleasure to meet the new members to the committee.
Thank you, Rob.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that information. We'll ask again, are there any other items for discussion under topics of future agendas? Hearing none, then we'll move on to reports. For our new members, traditionally what happens during this time, each member is given an opportunity to report on something in their specific area that they are bringing to the committee, or they are allowed to pass. And we do have people that will say, yes, pass, don't have anything this time. So with that, I will identify members and ask for any reports that they might have. I'll start with Council Member Santos.
Hello. Hey, thank you. I just like to really, say this is the a new year. It's a good new year. I mean, this is a good report. Looking forward for more this kind of report, especially on the retail analysis. And I'm looking forward to that. Actually, excited to see that, especially on February when it kick off, and also the report of on the parking structures and spaces in there. And that's a new one. I mean, I like that kind of report. I really appreciate that. And Christina, thank you so much for that. On that report, Kyle, thank you for that. I mean, I hope you will continue that every meeting. Thanks a lot, and Happy New Year to everyone.
Thank you, sir. We'll now call on Councilmember Finn.
Yes, thank you. I don't really have anything in particular to report on other than a big thank you. I'm very impressed with the quality of the citizens in Beaumont that are willing to give their time to make this a better place to live. I think we're in good company here. I think we'll be able to do some good things for the city. And as a council member, it's always good to hear from the public, and you guys are going to be our eyes and ears on that. So if you come up with an idea on your own, hey, run with it and bring it back to the committee. And then if we think it's a great idea, by all means, we'll bring it to the council. So I think this is where a lot of work's going to come from. And I think this is going to be a good committee to do that. So I look forward to working with you guys, and had specifically volunteered to be on this. And so I'm, as a business owner myself, I work out of my home, but it's certainly a nice learning curve to be able to see what storefront businesses deal with and what we can do to encourage that growth and so forth. So I'm looking forward to that traffic report as well. And I kind of had wondered, wow, what do you do with downtown? And so that's kind of a starting point for that. So I'm excited and thank for everybody for volunteering your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have Mr. Benecki.
Being a new member, I'll pass.
Thank you, sir. We'll ask member Dr. Eben Brown.
Just a few real quick things. So as you all are aware, the governor has made some announcements in the past couple of weeks about school and funding and all of those things. So something that we're trying to make sure that our community understands is that while the governor is proposing additional money for schools to open, we still are bound by the county and the state rules in terms of the purple tier and case rates and ICU bed availability. So although it's generous that he proposed additional money, we're still have our hands tied in terms of opening our schools in Beaumont. Our school board has made a determination that as soon as we are in the substantial red, which is the earliest you can open, we will open that following Monday morning. And so we're poised to do so, and we're ready to go. We know our kids need to be in school. They need to be in school. And so we're just kind of like everyone else, waiting for the case rates to go down, the metrics to change, something so that we can get our kids back in school. The second thing I just wanted to quickly announce is last night at the Board of Trustees meeting, Beaumont Unified School District Board announced a new superintendent beginning March 1st. And that person is a woman named Maze Kakish. And Maze Kakish was actually our chief business officer in Beaumont Unified from 2006 to 2011. and she's since gone on to become the Chief Business Officer in Moreno Valley Unified, and then the Chief Business Officer and Governmental Relations Officer for Riverside Unified. So she will begin March 1st as the new superintendent for Beaumont Unified School District. We're very excited to have her, and I'd love to eventually at some point in time bring her here to this group just to introduce her so that you have an opportunity to meet her, and very strong business mind. She comes from the non-instructional side of the house, which is dealing with all the fun stuff that schools have to deal with, which is the budget and salary and pay and expenditures and all those different things. So that is all I have tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. Next, we have Member Getka.
Had to unmute there. Sorry, guys. Well, as I said before, if there's any if there's any projects that you need additional help with, I'd be glad to volunteer for those projects. I'll try to think of some of my own. But one thing I need to learn a little more of, I was on a town council in Texas, but it was a small residential community, so we didn't have a planning commission. I wanted to learn more about how the EDC works with the planning group here in the city of Beaumont. How do they interrelate? I also am joining the board with the Chamber of Commerce. Be going to the next meeting, so I'll be learning more about how everybody interacts with each other and what we can all do to help support each other. So anyway, that's about all I have for today. Thanks again for the opportunity, and I look forward again to working with everybody.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have Member Coblin. You're on mute. You must not want to talk to us because you're on mute.
Well, no.
That's a first.
Thank
That's not like Alan.
I'd like to point out to the clarification to the chair. My name is actually pronounced Coblin.
Coblin, I am so sorry. Please charge it to my head and not my heart. You know how I am. So Coblin, yes, sir.
But thank you very much. No, I have nothing to report at this time.
All right, sir. Thank you. And again, I apologize for that. I will not make that mistake again, Mr. Coblin. All right. Then Member Moran.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Happy New Year to everyone. And I just wanted to virtually introduce myself to the new members again. I'm Rob Moran with the County of Riverside, so I act as the county's representative on this Economic Development Committee, and I am Deputy Director of our Business and Community Services Department. Worked with Kyle and for many, many years, and he's a colleague and a friend, and supportive of the city's economic development efforts. So I look forward to working and serving you in your role. And if there's anything I can ever do from the county level, information or anything, please do not hesitate to reach out. Again, we're here to serve you and the city's goals and objectives. I just wanted to very quickly mention a couple things. We heard a little bit earlier about the California Competes tax credit. The tax credit is available via application during certain times of the year, and right now is one of those application periods. Opened up on the 4th of this month and will close, I believe it's the 25th. And I won't get into all the details or ramifications at this point, but if businesses that are interested in making decisions about growing, expanding, or leaving, that's a potential tool and program for them. Also, many of you have heard the state has a $500 million grant program. They are closing their round 1 application tonight at 11:59 p.m. There will be another round, so businesses that have not accessed that grant program, it's up to $25,000 for businesses that have been impacted by COVID, which, as we know, has been a significant portion. And let's see, what else am I missing? I know I'm forgetting something, but anyway, that's probably enough for now. And thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Member Moran. Now we'll move to Member Rader.
Hi, I'm usually the rainbows and unicorns with my information. However, Chamber is trying to survive, not having any activities at all, which is what a chamber does. Our main focus right now is trying to do as much media advertising for all of our members as we possibly can. So we've been pretty successful with that, and most of our members are very pleased with what we can offer them. So that's about the extent of the chamber right now.
All right, thank you, ma'am, very much. Then we'll move on to Member Vince.
Thank you, Chairman. I just want to say thanks, and I'm looking forward to participating on this committee and be of service to the city of Beaumont. Happy New Year to everyone.
All righty. And then Member Samuel.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
There you go.
And once again, looking forward to service. That's about it. We have item 6 through 13. Yeah. It looks like it's a lot to do, and I look forward to getting busy doing a lot. So I don't mind getting dirty.
All right, thank you so much. With that, I'm going to forego my normal report, other than to say that Mount San Jacinto College will be opening on the 19th, and I'll bring you more reports as we move towards that. And I want to take this opportunity to again say thank you so much to Dr. Evan Brown for your leadership of this committee over the last year, and serving more as a mentor, because it was new to me even last year. So being put into this position, I had a great example to follow. I thank Mr. Warsinski for all of his help and leadership in helping acclimate me to this group, and thank you. I want to again go and welcome the great individuals that are new members. To Mr. Finn, congratulations not only on being a councilman, but a member of this group. To Mr. Getka, you know what? We're not going to have any problems as long as those Packers aren't playing my Dallas Cowboys. And I can't understand why we couldn't win you over while I was down there. And I'm not from Texas, because that would be a whole nother thing. And the city manager and I'll talk about that. But welcome, sir. Welcome, welcome. I want to say to Mr. Benecki, thank you, sir, for joining this group, bringing your wisdom and experience in city government. And then, of course, to Ms. Samuel. Ms. Samuel, I want you to understand, I'm an Oklahoma boy, born and bred all my life. Only been in California since 2013, so I haven't developed that California cool. But when folks say they can cook back home where I'm from, we call that a challenge. So when this COVID thing is over, we're going to be looking for a pot with some steam to come to one of the meetings. And so welcome to this committee, and thank you so much for your service. And then, of course, to Mr. Vince, thank you for your service in the military, retired, and for giving up your time. And let's see, I think I've covered everybody there. With that, if there is no other business to come before this body, I will entertain a motion. Oh, I will say this one last thing. I have missed you all so much. I think I shared this before we left, and we have had such an incredible time. You all think I'm joking when I say that Miss Rader gives the best hugs in the world. Hug a big old ugly fella like me really makes you feel good when you go to those chamber events. And they have such wonderful events. We are in a brand new year, and we're going to have a fantastic year as Beaumont. I'm so happy to live here, and we're going to beat this COVID thing, and we're going to get back to normal. So I continue to pray for everyone's safety and that of your families. You know, I told folks last time before we left, I don't care what your politics are. I've come to like you a whole lot, and I really want to keep you around. And so we have new faces here and new members to build relationships with, and healthy banter and enjoy each other. So I will entertain a motion that we will dismiss until our next regular scheduled meeting.
So
Second.
Do we need to call the roll, Ms. Willwright, or do we just let it go?
Do it by acclamation.
You can just call the time. It's fine.
Say again, ma'am.
You can just call the time. It's fine.
All right. Yeah. Now my clock is showing 5:31, but I could be definitely off. So I'm going to go with the clock that's actually in Mr. Warsinski or Ms. Willwright's office.
5:31.
Yes, ma'am. Everyone be blessed and stay safe.
Thank you, Vaughn.
Stay safe, everybody.
Good night.
Thanks, everybody. Happy New Year.